All right, everybody, welcome to the Otherppl show. My name is Brad Listi, and I'm in Los Angeles. I hope you're okay out there, wherever you happen to be. Don't forget to subscribe to this show wherever you listen. You can also subscribe on YouTube, and you can follow me on Bluesky and Instagram. It is Sunday, so it's time for a new character studies episode. My guest today is a 40-year-old pen and ink artist named Kirsten. She is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We had a great talk, and you're going to hear that in just a moment. Before we get going, I want to remind you that I have a weekly email newsletter. You can sign up for it over at bradlisti.substack.com. And you can check out my new company. It's called Deep Dive, and it is going to be launching soon. Sometime in the next 4 to 8 weeks, I think is the target. Deep Dive, if you are not aware, is a company that makes audio education, audio courses. And the debut course from Deep Dive is called How to Write a Novel. It features more than 50 hours of insight and instruction from dozens of today's leading writers. I am the host of the course, and you're going to be able to learn from people like Emily St. John Mandel, Steve Almond, Melissa Broder, Poor Chistakpour, Antoine Wilson, Matt Bell, Matthew Salisis, Madeline Lucas, Vivi Ganeshananthan. The list goes on. It is a writing course unlike any other. I am very proud of it, and I can't wait to share it with you. So if you want to sign up for the wait list, you can do that over at www.deepdive.audio. You can follow Deep Dive on Bluesky and Instagram. I'll keep you posted about the company and its launch right here on the podcast, but know that it's coming soon. So my guest once again today is Kirsten, a 40-year-old pen and ink artist from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My conversation with Kirsten is the latest in a series that has been running on this show for the past several months. It is called Character Studies, and it features conversations with civilians, ordinary people who talk with me about their lives. And in order for this series to keep running, I need guests. And the only way that I can get guests is if people volunteer to talk with me. So if you or someone you know would be interested in being a guest on on the Otherppl show in this character study series, and would be willing to appear anonymously, because that's how it works. You appear by first name only or by pseudonym. And the only thing I ask is that no writers. I'm talking to writers all the time for other episodes of this program, and I'm interested in diversifying with character studies and talking to people from all walks of life. So if you or someone you know fits that bill, you can email me. The address is letters@otherppl.com. So having said that, it is now time for my conversation with Kirsten, a 40-year-old pen and ink artist from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in this, the 16th Character Studies episode in the history of this program.
Hi, I'm Kirsten. I'm 40, and I'm a pen and ink artist. From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Born and raised?
Yes. 100%.
You've never left?
So I went to college, a state school outside. It's not very far, about an hour, in Indiana, University of Pennsylvania, which sometimes I just stop and say Indiana so people can just use their imaginations, but it is.
Wait, there is an Indiana University in Pennsylvania.
That's the one I went to, but there's IU, right? And that's probably a better school. So I just kind of see where the conversation goes, and I say Indiana, but it is, just a small college town. They had a really good art program. I think they still do, and that's what I studied. I studied fine art. I was one of 8, I think, with our graduating class, because that's pretty much an insane thing to do, I guess. And then I just worked a lot of odd jobs in Pittsburgh, moving around like every year. And then I was with a partner for the last 15 years. We've lived in a town, I guess, neighborhood called Lawrenceville. It's similar to LA. There's a lot of neighborhoods and they're just smaller. So Joe and I actually moved, this is kind of really fast jumping ahead, but in 2021 moved like in COVID to LA as a change of pace, as like after we had a really stable existence here and just wanted to mix it up. And we sure did. We mixed it up real good because I was there for about 9 months and had a brainstem stroke. So I've been recovering from that the last 3 years.
Okay, wait a minute. We got a lot to cover here. So
yeah,
let's just rewind for a second, and I want to talk about your upbringing in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Like, do you have siblings? What were your parents up to? What was childhood like?
Well, my parents they were my grandparents. My mom had me. So yeah, my grandma is the only living, out of that couple. I was very, very close to my grandpa as well, but we were just like still very close because now when I come back to Pittsburgh, I kind of split my time. I'm here. And so grandma and I are almost roommates at this point. So I've had many levels of relationship with her, which is really unique. And I don't think a lot of people maybe have that kind of layered thing and see their grandparent like in many forms. But my mom had me at 16 and my grandma obviously raised her just for like a lot of different reasons. I guess my dad was out of the picture for 2 years, even though we've had a roller coaster of ups and downs. We're now on again, if you can do that with a father. And
so your mom has you at age 16.
Really young, yep.
And then your grandparents essentially raised you.
Yeah, I was in and out of her care. She wasn't super stable. I'm in a kind of suburb neighborhood here in, this little, like can be 7 minutes, 15 minutes away from the city, really. And she ended up having a second child, my sister, who is a half sister, with another guy. So they spent a lot of time in the city. That's where they hung out. So I had, some complications with feeling left out. But as I now know, my sister has those traumas of like feeling like I was maybe the saving child or, got more attention with my grandma, which ended up being a more stable upbringing.
So yeah. And are you close with your half sister?
We were when she was sober for about 5 years. I'm not even sure how old she was when she started using, but she's pretty far in addiction. It's not a great situation at the moment. So I haven't spoken to her for years, but I actually opened up. I laugh. I mean, this is all, I'm at least pretty secure talking about this stuff. But as it turns out, I might have more work to do, as we probably all do with our backgrounds. But
well, okay. So you said, your half sister has struggled with addiction in her adult life, or maybe in like her late childhood into her adult life. And
always,
your mother who had you when she was 16, you said she was not all that stable. Did your mother struggle with addiction too?
Yeah, she passed when I was 10 and my sister was 5. So it was an overdose. And this was just, heroin before it was fentanyl and everything. So this was just like a path that they, were on. It was just a harder life than mine or what I, had to choose from. I had more opportunity for sure.
God, that's rough though. You must have been like just really heartbroken as a little girl. Like not only like not maybe having access to your mother or a relationship with your mother in the way that you would have liked, but then for her to be ill like this and then to die when you're 10, that's tough.
It is so strange when you're young too, because that's all you know. And you just think, I mean, I thought maybe that's why we're doing this. And character studies are very interesting because there's such unique experiences, but I thought she was super cool. And like you said, I didn't have access to her and didn't understand why. But I also felt even at 10, like such an adult. And now that's very funny because obviously, but yeah, our brains are shaped like she shared maybe, and that's part of the problem. She shared a lot with me that she maybe shouldn't have, just like about drug use. And I think in some ways it was about like sharing with me how not to do life, or, it maybe came across that way. And it definitely wasn't glamorized, but I was like, it was startling.
She used in front of you?
Not really. There's a time I do remember at the pool, and she must have been out of it a lot, like, off and on, where I felt really responsible for my little sister. We were at the pool and I had a lot of like, okay, well, I'm the only one like taking care of this 4-year-old, at the pool. So I can't say for sure. Maybe she was. I don't know. I was really protected from it. So the stories I have are like, one example is we went camping. My grandma took me camping every year with grandpa, and they'd a pop up. And it was like, at that point, my dad and I were close. So he would come up for the weekend. And I think my mom was like instructed to just watch the house or feed the cat kind of thing. And I know there was like some kind of party at our house here that felt, at the time very strange, and just like through that lens. And then now looking back at it, like, what am I missing? I'm just feeling like I'm always filling in the holes, I guess.
And how much communication was there with your grandparents? Like, were they kind of like letting you know anything about what was going on with your mom? Did they try to explain to you?
Just that my mom was sick. Yeah. I will disclose that I've been surrounded by recovery my whole life. My grandma's a long timer in a program that I think we all know very well, and she's helped so many people. So I'm like very proud of her. I kind of have this dual upbringing because I've had my dad and his family too, which is like very Pittsburgh, I will say, like they're from here, which is a different type of person. My grandma who raised me and grandpa are from the West Coast. They're from Washington State. And they moved here in the 60s for Alcoa, which was the industry. He was an engineer, and my grandma was young. So I think she kind of wasn't in love with leaving at a time that she did, and had a lot of resentment, but learned to love Pittsburgh because now that grandpa's gone, of course, I thought we were going to go back to Washington, or I'd be like reunited with a family I never knew. And she's like, no, I'm happy. But she's also 85. So
yeah, at a certain point it becomes home. And,
whether
you talked
like
about
it or not.
Right. And you've talked about your dad and this relationship you have with him is kind of on again, off again. Was he also struggling with substance?
No, I think he was like a teenager who smoked weed and partied. My mom and my dad met on the swim team. From what I understand, he was a little bit older, which at the time was inappropriate, but they always kind of had a crush on each other. And from what I understand now, my dad was really in love with my mom. So it's nice to have a closeness with the two men in my mother's life. So even though, she died at 27, which is so young, it's hard for me having passed that age. It's just bizarro world. But
that's very young.
She was a little girl.
Do you remember the day she died? Like how you found out, or like what happened?
I do. Definitely. I was at school and I walked to school. So I was walking home, and someone it's just funny about our intuitions. Like a kid fell down the stairs. There was like an ambulance at school. And I guess because of always waiting for the other shoe to drop with my mom, and I just was like, I knew it was a precursor. I just had a feeling like it could have just been a thing that happened, but I knew it wasn't. I knew it was like something ominous, and I don't even know who that person was. But anyway, I walked home and there was a lot of cars in the driveway. My grandma has a lot of friends. I've had a lot of grandmothers in my life. And at this point in time, it was, I guess, nice. Like, I don't know how you want to be told this, but, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's when you learn to disassociate with things. 'Cause I literally ran under the bed, just became a 10-year-old and just like didn't want to hear it. I remember my grandpa was like pulling me out under the bed. Like, this is serious, like we have to tell you that this is like your mom died. And like, I knew before they even had like said it. So I was hiding from it. And then we went over to tell my sister, which she lives in the neighborhood that I now live in. And that's a whole other thing. And to tell a 5-year-old, I mean, she had the same intuition probably and just cried. Like, I don't know. There's no easy way. Because at that point, my mom was living with my sister and her father. And yeah, it was probably really messy. I don't remember things after that. I remember the funeral. Things I'm remembering right now make me sound super weird, but like I was rubbing everybody's feet at the funeral home. So,
like their shoes, like they had their shoes on, and you were
off. Like, you're there all day. Everybody's standing around, and it's exhausting. And I just was like, I don't know. I've always been like into back rubs, and like, I don't know, we're that kind of family, I guess. But I was like, better keep busy, better like make people comfortable and happy. Like, probably it started all the way back then, but I hadn't remembered that for a while. Super weird. Yeah, my godmother came into town, and she's kind of like a fairy godmother. So I got my ears pierced. So it was like, yeah, let's distract. Let's do all these things and have a nice visit, despite it being the reason we're here is for something really tragic,
Well, and your poor grandparents, that's their daughter. And to lose a daughter is incredible. I mean, that's got to be incredibly heartbreaking. And for your grandmother, who has been in, like you said, been in recovery for a long time, to lose your daughter to addiction.
Herself, her whole family. This is like, yeah, it is hard. My grandmother lost 2 siblings. She has 1 remaining sibling still, which is amazing. I had all my grandparents until I was like 37, 36, which is incredible. So I feel lucky in that way. There's always a spin on these things. I feel I'm generally pretty optimistic, and like, this is just the cards I was dealt. Like, I have definitely struggled with my own bouts in and out of therapy, dealing with certain things. And, but it is a story. Like, I mean, I hope this is a good character study, but it's also, I was like, wow, I've never been able to kind of disclose one's life at 40. Feels kind of cool to me too. So thank you.
Well, of course. Yeah. And I'm curious to know like what like your day-to-day life was like after your mom died in the house. Like, you're 10 years old when she dies, and then you get into, junior high and adolescence, and you go through high school, and you're living with your grandparents, and they're going through their grief process. Like, what was it? Was it fairly stable? Were there difficult times?
Yeah, for sure. My grandpa had his own business. So at that time he left Alcoa and like started his own engineering business. My grandma worked for him, so they were kind of busy. But like, grandma definitely always had me in crafts and like art. I became a cheerleader. I knew that was something my mom really valued. Like, I was super flexible. So it was like, all these things. It was like, oh, I remember like I got to try out for the cheerleading because I'm like, she was proud of those splits. And then I got into gymnastics, and that is why I like cheerleading. I ended up going to a Catholic like school until 12th grade. So I cheered and was an artist, which I know in certain like bigger public schools might not make any sense to someone, but we were in a really small school, and that kind of was nice. I could be like a different type of identity where people knew that was who I was.
Were you Catholic?
I guess growing up, yeah. Grandpa never went to church, but we had to go on Sundays. If I was with my dad on the weekend, we would go, just the 2 of us. You went like 3 times during the week. So it was definitely part of my experience for sure. I always dabbled in like books about Hinduism and like just probably the artistic nature of like statues and storytelling. And I felt just way more inclined to learn about Buddhism from an early start. And now my grandma and I talk about God and like beliefs, and she's really open-minded. She goes on retreats and things. Sure do.
So you go off to Indiana University in Pennsylvania and you study art.
I do right off the bat. Yep. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I even took some summer classes, like going to a CMU. Maybe you've heard of it. Carnegie Mellon is a big school, but they have a pretty awesome summer program for kids like about to go to college. And I took an oil painting class and drawing because I wasn't even sure if I'd be any good. Like I was taught till 12th grade, we did like still like clay stillmation. What is that called? You know, stop motion, claymation. We did collaging. So like cutting things out of a magazine. I was like, not the best resources for art, you know, pros and cons of going to that school. I, in a positive light, really enjoyed that everybody was from a different area. Like when you go to a public school, you're kind of immersed in just like the neighborhood and don't leave. And my friends were from all over town. So like when I got my license, I felt comfortable with the city right away. So I drove everywhere from the beginning.
Who was your best friend growing up?
Do I say her name?
I mean, you can, or you can make one up if you want to give her some anonymity.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'd be good at that.
How about just the first initial?
Beantown, L.
Okay, so
she'll know, but she probably doesn't listen.
So L, it's all right. It's all right. So L.
Yeah, Lauren.
Her name's Lauren.
I just gave it away. Spoiler alert.
Tell me about Lauren. Why were you guys such good friends?
I guess we were outsiders. Like her mom cut our hair really cool. We were like had pixie haircuts. Like it was that era. Trying to think of this one. Well, I guess it's like post Jennifer Anderson. Like, you know, the kind of, it's all back now. But I just remember we sat down and like could totally get each other's vibe. And she's like, I'm the president of my like Saint Catholic school. And I was like, I'm going to draw you a dog. And we did. And then we just were like, let's be best friends.
It's easy when you're a kid. Like you can just make friends. It's like adults have such a hard time making friends, I feel like, by comparison.
You just have to draw a picture of a dog to like, I think I like this person. That should happen more, maybe.
And then what about first love? Is there someone you could point to who was your first like crush or first love?
I had definitely some boyfriends through high school. So weird. Like even before that, like 7th and 8th grade, you hear like stories about like, I don't know. People were way more advanced maybe than I was. But yeah, I had like a really good boyfriend and then another good boyfriend. And then I don't know. I had a bad boyfriend and then got another like long-term boyfriend, like that kind of straddled, I guess, my graduation into college. And luckily he oddly worked at a power plant close to IUP. So this is like a very steel town, I don't know, Rust Belt love story. But he wasn't in college, but he came up and worked like odd jobs and was in the union. And so we like kind of lived together even then. It was really weird, but I definitely did my own art thing, and that was serious and important to me. But it was, I don't know, in some way, maybe it was like having a protector too. Like looking back on that, he was a pretty strong figure, a little older than me, a boxer.
Worked at the power plant. No one's messing with that guy.
Yeah. Very blue collar. I guess it turned into my type and then it turned back. So the person I'm with now is from college, but through art world. And we weren't together because we both had these long-term relationships, and then got into a relationship outside of college and really have been together ever since. It's getting more difficult now as the story unfolds. But even that story is really cute. I feel like I have these like precious moments, like of how I remember things in my mind with, I mean, I knew Joe, that's his name. And there's a lot of them, so that feels okay saying. He is into music. He does music. That's why he's in LA now. He's does like composition and writing for television and things. So like a lot of library music, I'm sure you're familiar with like that. So he gets like picked up and it's all very random in the payment, but quarterly and all that. But when we were in college, we went to a mutual friends party and it was like out in the woods. It was like good friends of ours, both actually. That's how we like re-met, was at their wedding. We kind of like sparks were kind of a fly-in. And that was, I sometimes have an old timey way of speaking. I'm very curious if this is.
I was going to say sparks were a flying.
And I don't mean anything by it, just like, right. It was like, yeah, oh, that's right. Like it, because we knew each other. It felt like a cool, like, rebirth. I don't know. But so I don't know if you're going to get the Yinzer accent for me. I hope you do a little bit. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to like take a pause that being that I was raised by my grandparents out west, I think this stuff is really interesting. And, you know, I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. I feel like somehow I have like a different type of accent. So I'm not sure. And then raised by your grandparents, it's like I am a little old timey. So maybe.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't hear the Yinzer. And by the way, for people listening, the Yinzer accent is the Pittsburgh accent, right? It's like
very special. And it's like West Virginia. Like we are so close. People don't realize, especially when I'm out in LA, it's like, oh yeah, you're from Philly. It's 5 hours to Philly, you know? But we are very close to Ohio, very close to West Virginia. And that's kind of that Southern Appalachian kind of, I won't do an impression, but especially with my condition right now, I'm a little nasally. It would be weird.
So when it comes to the Yinzer accent, like what's like a yin, like a, just a quintessential Yinzer expression?
Well,
like what would
now I'm around all these makers that do things and it's all like in that, like N apostrophe AT, that means like, you know, or GET is like, did you eat? Like just really like condensed. That's where Yins came from. It's you guys, it's y'all, but it's this area. I don't say it except for being like telling of where I'm from, but people definitely, I'm surprised how many people know. I think Pittsburgh's definitely kind of like in that new blue zone of like safety for climate change. And maybe it's the hot new spot. It certainly feels like that. Yeah.
Well, just because the cost of living is manageable, and
for now, yeah,
it's got some beauty. Those rivers, those bridges.
I love it. The topography is awesome. It has like, it's like ramshackle. Like all the like buildings are just kind of like falling apart in a really cool way. Like we love New Orleans. Like it kind of feels like that, but it kind of feels like, I don't know. It's like a mountain town too. It's kind of like, just has a very special, and now with the summer, it's just like my allergies are terrible, but it's just like very humid. It's been raining so much. Like I just wish there was some kind of way we could bring it west, but
yeah, we could use it.
Why haven't they figured that out? It's like so much rain and then
right.
Zero rain.
That's right. That's right. Well, when you were in college, I'm curious, like, you know, you know that you want to major in art and you want to draw.
Yep.
And you obviously have some talent for this. Like you've noticed that this is what you like to do. I'm imagining you were kind of excelling as a high school student in art class. And
I feel like I was teaching it sometimes. Like I said, that was the only class we had taught by a nun. I remember like, all right, she just phoned it in like, Kirsten. I'm like, I'd like to learn too. But yeah, I was definitely like, that's her thing. But I took a lot of, when I got to college, I liked like sociology and I studied at the time, it was women's studies. So I loved I ended up getting a minor in art history just because I mean, I still would love to be in school. I thought it was awesome.
And so what did you envision for yourself, or did you envision something for yourself?
I didn't. No, I didn't want to teach. And I was really only submerged in academic, this is what you're going to push for. And we're doing slides. They take pictures. It was the last year where they had slide portfolio before it went to CDs. And I don't know. It's just all antiquated now. It's just I learned how to think critically and, just exactly those liberal arts schools, got a little bit of everything. I learned how to live on my own, maybe not all that well, but I am an adult now. So I took a lot of class, learned theory, learned conceptual art, I guess, not a ton of skilled work. And I wish I could go back and do that. I feel like that could happen for me.
And so what are you doing now? You're kind of a commercial pen and ink artist.
I am. I run my own business. I did all the art markets. So I just bounce around, schlepping and, selling wares. So yeah, it's very commercial. I probably was somewhat inspired by, needing to make money, of course, but Andy Warhol was a big, figure in Pittsburgh.
I was going to say he's a Pittsburgh guy.
Born here, yeah. We are lucky enough to have the museum, so people love it. It is really fun to talk about it when I'm elsewhere. I'm proud. Pittsburgh's a cool city to be from. I do feel it has Joe always says it punches above its weight. It's has a lot of influence, but it is it is a big town, I guess, is what I would call it.
How many people live there? What is it?
Oh, I hate this question. I don't know numbers. I black out. We're going to have to fill that one in.
Let's just say there's 1 million people.
No idea. Me.
Yeah. And
it's city proper and all those. It's growing by the day. I feel like it might turn into a Boston because our infrastructure is just really, there's nowhere to build. And it's more people are coming. Honestly, the rush hour is worse than LA. We always say that. People complain here oh my gosh, LA traffic. And it's yeah, but people are moving and they know how to work in with other people. And here there's just nowhere to go.
Is there public transportation? Is it good?
Yeah, I like it. I take the bus when I used to live down in town when I had Joe and I lived here. I would take it down when I used to bartend and I would work downtown, and it's cheap and yeah, not as scary as LA. And I've taken that a bit. I'm trying to rally everybody to take the metro, but that's a hard sell sometimes.
In LA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I take it. I'll take it sometimes, but it's
cool.
It's a mixed bag. I took the train downtown for a protest about a month,
Awesome.
Whenever it was, a month or two ago.
Yeah.
It was the first protest, of the season. And I'm standing on the platform and this teenage boy, somebody starts mugging him right in front of me, trying to steal his phone. And his mom starts screaming and starts hitting this guy with her purse. And then another guy grabs the guy who's trying to steal the phone and throws him to the platform, to the ground. And then I'm sort of standing there, do I get on top of him? And what are we doing? Are we're going to hold this? Yeah. I was do I hold this guy down? I had my hand on his leg. I'm just and then someone's shouting, get security here. Of course there's no security.
No one's around ever, right?
No, it's empty in in LA train platforms. So it's just
yeah,
I never told anybody about that. I think that just happened.
Which line was that?
It was, I don't know. It was I was getting on at Vermont and Beverly, and I was headed downtown.
So that might have been the red line.
Yeah,
Is it the red
that's
line?
right.
That one's pretty rough, they say. I will say I take it to Santa Monica sometimes, like, cause I just am seeing the city with the fresh eyes, right? And we actually live downtown. Well, I say we, but I mean, it's complicated right now, but when we're downtown, we're right in the thick of that. We're between 4th and 5th, like on Spring, it's very much close, all the, protesting right now. So I haven't been around, but Joe has had to keep like his address, like mail in his pocket. And he's like definitely seen problematic
Oh,
things.
yeah. Well,
So
I mean, that's down near Skid Row.
yeah, it is. I was in a lot of musicals and in Little Shop of Horrors, and I just was terrified of Skid Row, and now I embrace it as my like community. It's really interesting. There's an artist, maybe SC Moreau. She's amazing, and she does a lot of I guess it's street art where maybe you've seen like something that's you have to take a second look, like the post box is like up on stilts, and you're like, whoa, and it's about like not everybody has the right to vote or access, and the one thing she's doing right now is there's a crane, a night bird in Skid Row that got displaced from the river long ago. And now it just like they're breeding there and you can see them. She takes photos of them. It's really, really cool. There's a lot going on down there. I mean, I would imagine you would think that, but yeah, I kind of like it. I got a hat. It's like Skid Row cranes.
So you've spent a lot of time out here.
The last 3 years, yes. Yes, we were going to move in 2019. Obviously had some pandemic time. I was out here for a conference for art and selling to museum shops, which is kind of like amazing that exists. It's the Museum Shop Association, which everybody loves a museum shop. And that was my first like really big conference, and I loved it. And we were looking around and meeting people, and then that got delayed, and then decided to come, and we landed a really awesome apartment in Los Feliz our first year. Loved it, loved our neighbors, but we're used to like brick and like solid spaces. So it just like Joe works from home on music. It's like cardboard. It's just the walls are so thin there, the Hollywood kind of style homes. So we were like, where's the concrete in this town? And then we're like, I guess we're going downtown.
So aside from, you talked about the loss of your mother when you were a kid. It sounds like you had like a pretty stable upbringing. Nothing too terrible happened after that. Are there any other formative things that happened to you between like the loss of your mom and then getting into adulthood?
Yeah. Well, the biggest one I think is because I kind of like the stuff with my mother and being young is like water under the bridge, let's say. And the really weird thing that happened, I would say with my father is that I was cheerleading with a friend, and we like kind of set our parents up like Parent Trap, super cute. And then that kind of backfired, and like I lost him for the last 20 years. Pretty much. It was, I would say that relationship was more traumatic than the stuff with my mom, because I was really protected from that. This was like, oh, I did this and she's mentally ill. My dad, I would say, was basically in an abusive relationship for the last 22 years. And now he's finally getting out of that situation. So it's like.
But he was being abused?
I would say, I mean, it's hard because she's not well and not medicated, and finally has been diagnosed with schizophrenia. But like, what do? You put up with it, I guess. And he just like, he's kind of, we are kind of the same person in that we don't like to make waves in relationships. So yeah, she was terrible. And like, I don't know, I guess they were visions, or she would just like create scenarios that I was certain ways. And at age like 16, that was pretty formative to like my identity. So I would say any issues I have with like knowing thyself, or it's just, I don't want to, just like wearing bathing suits or being inappropriate. That was not like, okay. She thought I was a pothead. I had never smoked weed at that point. Cause I like Bob Marley. That was like, she's just, and so I'm at a place now where I just know she's not well, and that's not my problem, but I had to separate myself from their kind of toxicity. And oh my gosh, like there's just, the stories are, I don't know, it feels weird because they're not really my stories to tell, but like with my stepsister, they got married and we were very close, and now no one is close because like it just like it ruins families. It ruins the outreach of like that kind of mental illness. It doesn't just affect her, that's for sure.
There's ripple effects.
Big time. And there was all kinds of red flags like we should have known about and did know about, but he went along with it. And yeah, but I am trying to focus on the positive of like, he's back in my life now. He's really trying to make up for it. And that feels good. It's also strange because I just turned 40, and it's only been in the last year where like I'll tell my friends like, I have a father now, and they're just like, what? Like we never talked about that, or they know the story and they're just like, what happened? It's amazing what can happen in a lifetime, right? Like that's actually 40 years is nothing, but
yeah, I was going to say,
and I obviously suffer from my own like anxiety, if that wasn't probably obvious by this interview, but
I mean, I feel like everyone is struggling with anxiety these days. Yeah. I feel like, how could you not? If you're not anxious, if you're not a little bit anxious living in this world, something's probably...
You're not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think your antenna might be faulty, but I'm curious, like, you are raised by your grandparents. You're obviously very close with them. And then you said your grandfather passed away. Like he lived to an older age, but he got up there and then got sick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like 80-ish. And then just kind of, I would say like the cause of death would be, I think maybe I'm incorrect on this, but it's like sepsis, like after being in the hospital and things. And you hear this story a lot, and it like is so angering. But that was the first time I was around someone dying that wasn't like, well, I guess I've always been waiting for people to die. This is kind of like my thing. And I'm in a situation with my grandma now too. It's like, I'm going to stay here more. She's getting older. And I've like over the last decade, I've been, on guard, and then she could live for another 20 years. And I'm still like, then where's my life in this? Like that's kind of the sad part I'm trying to work on. But
like being a caregiver and and then wanting to also just kind of have your own existence. And
yeah, it's been really fun, like running away to LA, and I do have some really good friends, but I've been trying not to make any friends because it's just really nice to be there and work, and not, I just like being here. I know everyone, and it feels like you can't get away from doing a million things. And I'm balancing literally my own business, my own health, because that is like not even hasn't been addressed. Like I am better. I look fine, but I have a lot of like things that need worked on. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out like, is it too late to go on disability? Like, why am I trying to run a business at all? Like, it's just a lot of, and I'm just historically not a really good decision maker.
What's the customer base for your business? Like, who do you make art for?
Everybody. That's like people. So there's a show, the Arts Festival, the Three Rivers Arts Festival. I do that every year. It's my 11th year. We flooded this year. I was like 5 inches of water, but Saturday made up for it. It was a really good day. But I do a lot of commissions, so I draw a lot of houses like to pay the bills. But I have been doing this full time, selling just a brand of work, like a line, no pun intended, but like for 10 years, going on 12, 15. So like it's working, but there's definitely like more I want to do like as an art practice. So
What is this line?
the line is, I guess I'm just going to say the name of it or not.
Well, can you just describe it?
Yeah, it's black and white drawings. So it's like a lot of architecture. It's a lot of Pittsburgh. It's like I started drawing new cities, including LA. I have about 10, but not like the 200 I have here. So it kind of keeps me in business. There's a ton of bridges and a ton of churches to draw, and people love Pittsburgh. And that's like my market, I guess. I do love drawing bricks, so that's good for me. But I also I should say I sell products that are like very functional. So the drawings are on home goods, stationery. You can, people don't have like a ton of wall space anymore. So it's like really nice housewarming gifts, I guess. Good wedding gifts, good. It's definitely a niche I think I can even do better on, but I'm already stretched really thin. And I feel like I just have to stay in Pittsburgh to kind of like see that through, get it on autopilot. So maybe I can explore a little bit more internally and get back to an art practice, which, I've been saying for 10 years.
So COVID hits, and this is when you and your partner decide that you're going to move to LA.
Yeah, we were between New York and LA. We've been to New York a lot. We have friends there, and it just felt like the time to do something really different. And I couldn't think of a more different place. I never even wanted to go to LA, to be honest. It was in my predicament. I guess I always expected to be in Seattle in Washington State because that's where I have family. And I would go there every summer and I really loved it. But as it turns out, with like all the tech, it's cheaper to be in LA than it is to be in Seattle, which is just like crazy. And I really love LA in a way I never expected. So it is cool to kind of debunk people's like Midwestern, I don't know, like LA's this way. It's like, you guys.
Everybody has an opinion because Los Angeles features so largely in the culture.
Sure.
But I don't think there's a place on earth, or at least a place in America, that is more misperceived. There's a big difference between what people expect LA to be and then what it's actually like to live here.
Right. And it is hard to live there also, but
yeah,
it's also like you can be in a different world every day. Or like I said, I take the train from downtown with my like Tommy Bahama like chair, which probably looks super dorky. And I'm like on the train and I can go and read a book on the beach. It's like, sure, it's a whole day trip, but that's something that's like a very special treat. Yeah, we really, I guess too, with my health stuff, I feel really grounded in Los Feliz in particular, that like that was where I recovered. I learned how to walk there. I learned how to I really, I don't know. It's again, like a rebirth that feels like a place that it's just really imprinted on my heart, soul, whatever.
So let's talk about your health problems. Like you're living out here and you said you had a brainstem stroke?
I did, yeah. It just tore. I have a vertebral artery. Like we all have 4 arteries that go to the brain, and one of mine just like frayed or tore. I guess they call it a dissection, and then it clotted. For a month leading up to this, I had a very extreme pain in my neck, not to give everybody things to worry about, because this is like, I still do it as well, because I'm like, oh, this feels similar. But it was like debilitating. I also had an ear infection at the time. And so I went to Med Express or one of those like health, and everybody was very good looking. I will say, like, that was something I felt, and this is on more East LA, but we're always like, oh, this wouldn't happen in Pittsburgh. I like came back after reporting I have an ear infection, and I said, this thing in my neck hurts really bad. And he's like, oh, it's probably just lymph nodes, which of course, like no one was going to give me a CT scan at that very moment. But I came home and I told Joe, I'm just like, everybody's so good looking here. Like that was such a great experience. And then as it turns out, like a month later, we went and had Chinese food. I drove like Inland Empire. I came home. We were going to like rest and kind of like take it easy because we had a lot of Chinese food, which was delicious. And then I laid back and I kind of had some sensory visual, like I get ocular or had in the past migraines. So maybe that's how my anxiety, I was just like, oh, I'm getting older. What is this new feeling? This is like a new style of migraine. And then within seconds, I like fell on my left side. It felt like I was 200 pounds. Like I couldn't get up. It was just like this pull of gravity to my left side. And I was nauseous. It was like such a traumatic episode that, I mean, we're the type of people who would not call the ambulance because there's not, like, we would consider money, right, for that. And there was just no even question. It was just like, this is so. Luckily, yeah, I got picked up. It was a little bit traumatic because I'm like, I'm going to vomit. I can't walk. They're like carrying me out. And I'm just like, give me like a bucket to like, you're the EMS. Like I'm requesting, I'm really out of sorts. I would like to throw up now. And no one let me. And I just like embarrassed or, you know, at the time I was like embarrassed. So I'm like leaving my apartment and there's, like,
were you on a stretcher?
I don't remember.
Oh, you don't?
It was so like spinny. And I mean, just to go from, and I will say like since then, it's been 3 years, but my whole world is like off kilter. I have a condition now that's called Wallenberg syndrome. It's like everything is a little off. So now I'm used to it, but then it went from perfectly healthy to in a moment, like spinning around the room. So it's hard to like know what it was like at that moment, but they probably thought I was just like a young person overdosing or something. It felt very like they weren't taking it seriously. And that was disappointing. So I got to the hospital, and when they realized that it was like this very specific, rare type of thing, that I got transferred to Glendale. The Adventist was a good stroke center, I guess. So that's where I spent the next month.
Wow. And how do you tear this vein? Like, how do you know how this vein tore?
No, I do not. I have no idea other than they did tests for a condition. I have lots of things, but I have EDS, which is that Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm not saying that right, but it's basically the flexy, like double jointed stuff that we were all party tricking in our younger years. And now it has like a diagnosis. And so they were like, okay, well, you visually show me all the markers of being someone who's like bendy. Maybe there's like 14 types of EDS. Maybe you have a vascular form. So I did that testing and it came back negative. So I don't. Maybe because I am bendy. I don't know. Most people who have this happen to, and there was actually a younger girl in Pittsburgh who had a chiropractic work and passed away from probably the same exact thing. So yeah, usually it's like manipulation or a fall, but then you hear doctors and they're like, oh, you could just sneeze and this could happen. It's terrifying, but.
Wow. So you can die from it. Like you can die from it.
Oh yeah. I guess the likelihood that they had caught what it was and that I am still alive it's hard to remember that every single day, but yeah, I'm, I guess, pretty lucky.
Did you have to have surgery? Like, what do they do? Like, and like, what kind of disabilities did you develop?
well, I couldn't walk at all. And then I learned how to walk. So that like kind of came back quickly. I still stumble and like run into walls. Honestly, like I drive, but things are a little like, my vision is great if I'm looking straight ahead. Like when I'm looking at you, I can see fine. But if I like were to reach or grab, twist and turn, that's when things kind of, and my eyes are just like fatigued. So I sleep a lot. I develop some nervous system issues like centralized sleep apnea, uh, which is like pretty serious. And so I have a CPAC now. It's like I went from 35, like a healthy pre-pandemic person, and we all have our stories, I know, and it just like feels like I woke up at 90.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
That is wild. How did your grandmother, what did she do when she learned that you'd had a stroke?
Well, Joe called, and I think it was probably better I was with him. He was able to take care of me probably better than she could have. And the problem with like working for yourself though is I didn't have any kind of like healthcare. I mean, I pay for my own, and my business was doing well enough where I had savings to float this year for like 2 years, recovering, being in LA, like all these other new expenses. And then like, so I lost track, but grandma and I would say are very good at like catastrophic things. I think this is a type of person, and I just can't handle like little stressors well. Like, so I don't know. I guess we're just ready for terrible things to happen. So like this was like, all right, we're in. I'm buckling down for this crisis. But on the day to day, it's like, yeah, I have panic disorder and all of those like issues that I do meditate a lot. And I'm sure it was super hard for her to be away, but I got better enough to like wheelchair through the airport to Pittsburgh. And then I continued to go back and forth for the last 3 years. But I think I was just kind of muscling through, like, I'm getting better. So I look better. This is all good. Like, make money, get back to work. And I just need a break. Like, I'm so burned out now that it's like now is harder than then almost.
You're exhausted.
Yeah.
And
it makes you question everything.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that. I think a lot of people are just tired. Like sometimes I'm like I run pretty hard and I'm like, I think I can do it, but then other times I'm like, but I don't know how, for how long. Like at some point I'm going to just wear out.
Do you mean run, or do you mean just push the limits?
I just mean push the limits, like, like working late, getting up early, exercising, just like working. Like it just constant.
I know it takes something like a major health condition, but now I will say I'm either asleep on a podcast. No, I'm kidding. This is the first one I've ever, but like I'm sleeping or working, and it shortens my day so much, but I need so much sleep. So now it's just like, okay, that's how we're going to get stuff done. It's like I sleep a good 8-10 hours, and then I need a 2-hour nap. It's like, I'm kind of like Rip Van Winkle, but like, that's how it has to be. I'm not really functional if I'm not. So.
And you can walk, you can use your hands. Like, it's like not like affecting your physical self in a real serious way.
It was all my left side. So I will say there's still like this current, like if I just like let my eyes relax, they tend to go left, like naturally. It's a struggle to that's like part of my exercise. I like always look left, and I'm trying to do things like that. When I had tape on my glasses to start, because my eyes were just, that was the scariest part. I have a drawing I did after the stroke when I was in the hospital, and it's just like scribbly flowers, but it's some flowers that I got, and I just wasn't going to not do that right away. That was like, I got right back to it. it's crazy to look like 3 months in, I was doing commissions again. All my houses do lean a little bit left, so it's kind of like maybe charming.
I was going to say, how did this stroke affect your art?
Yeah, well, kind of okay, because I mean, other than all the naps required, I will I think it maybe helped like my recovery, because my eyes were, it's called nystagmus. Do you know when your eyes are kind of fluttery, like they go back and forth, like wasn't in my control. So not only were they going left to right, but they were like twisting. So it was just a mess. Like the first 8 months it was just better to have my eyes closed. But when I focused and I learned to keep my eyes, try not to double things, I think it was pretty successful in helping the recovery.
Wow. So you're mostly in Pittsburgh. You're living with your grandmother who's 85, kind of helping take care of her. She's probably helping take care of you a little bit. Your partner, exactly. Joe, is in LA, so you're traveling every once in a while to see him.
Right. Yeah, we have recently come to an agreement that I probably will stay here more. Obviously, I'm welcome there. All my stuff's there. I would like to go back more, but I just have to prioritize some things at the moment. That feels like the best non-decision I can make.
Yeah. Well, and you need to let your body heal, right?
It's amazing how long it takes. Yes, I think I need to research different doctors. I'm not happy with pretty much any of them. So there's the pulmonary doctor I really like for my sleep apnea, but the neurologist, I didn't explain I have probably the worst of the conditions is trigeminal neuralgia. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's a condition, I didn't know about it either, but it stems from right above your ear and all three branches of your face. Well, I mean, I think there's a couple suicide diseases, but they call it that. There's a guy in LA, a comedian, who diagnosed me actually first, because he does a show, a one-man solo show about having trigeminal neuralgia. He's had many surgeries. It always comes back because nerves are gnarly and they just grow back. But a friend of mine, she was like, "You got to see the show. I think he has what you have." And then when I went,
what is it? What is it?
Oh, it's I guess, well, I don't know. It's a nerve. If something's pinched, or I guess I don't know why this happened. And I actually have some thoughts recently, but it just feels like razor blades are cutting your face. So it's constantly in pain, but then it's sticks are being jabbed in my eye. It's just a very, very painful, face nerve condition. And some people just have one spot, but I have all three because I know how to do it right. And I am very lucky. And, when I do something, I do it right. Yeah, it's bad. And I take a ton of medicine for it. So that makes me sleepy. And it's hard to get stuff done. I mean, I don't have kids. If I had kids, I couldn't even imagine how one would, I still feel very stunted, in a child place, because I just have to kind of worry about myself. Caretaking grandma, I went straight from that generational gap, and that's kind of where I'm at, what I'm dealing with. But what I was going to say is chronic pain. A lot of people right now are talking about mind-body connections, and I find it pretty fascinating that someone maybe exactly had the same stroke as I had, maybe wouldn't have had a face condition like this. It's real pain, but the way things are stored in your brain where chronic pain lives is, I'm not really good at articulate at this, but I'm reading the book. It's called Mind Your Body. There's a gal, she does a podcast too, Nicole Sachs, and she studied under this guy who kind of started this. It's all about back pain, and back pain isn't real. It's pretty interesting stuff, but she believes it goes for all chronic pain. It's just your pent up traumas reacting subconsciously in ways that like become really physical. So I know when I'm able to meditate, like if I could meditate all day, this wouldn't be an issue. I could probably keep it under control, and that's not sustainable for like living a life. So
do you have like a vision of how you want things to go? Like, are you working towards something, or do you have a dream of how your life would unfold going forward?
It always just looks like more traveling and like having a business that supports me as if I was married to someone very wealthy, but it's like my business and I'm proud of it. But then I also can do like other things that are more meaningful to me. That's all I got on paper. And I know you're supposed to get a lot, like much more clear to manifest these things. And I have a crystal or two, but it's not.
Couple odd crystals hanging around.
Yeah. So far, just, waiting for that thing. And it's cool because I was raised, my grandparents never forced me to, they were really supportive, but now I'm in a place where it's like, I wish I had a little more structure, or there was like some guide to what this life looks like, but I guess in some ways I have made success for myself. It's just, it like went away because I needed money to support myself during this time. And now I'm like in a rebuild back period. And I don't have the strength quite yet to do that, but I'm really trying.
Well, go easy on yourself. It sounds like you're on the road to recovery. And
I love hearing that from you. Thank you. Just because it's like, of course, right? But it's one of my things. Like I'm hard on myself and the people pleasing, just learning all about that. So I thought I had dealt with all the traumas, and turns out you never do.
Yeah, there's always more.
More to dig. Yeah.
Well,
yay.
It's a pleasure to meet you and to hear your story. I really appreciate you being so candid with me, and I wish you well.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
All right, there we go. That was my conversation with Kirsten, a 40-year-old pen and ink artist from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My thanks to Kirsten for talking with me. It's fascinating learning about people's lives and all that they have been through. Kirsten has certainly been through her fair share, and yet I find that she retains a certain positivity, like a goodness, and maybe an optimism. So my thanks to her for speaking so candidly, and my thanks to you for listening. A reminder to please subscribe to the Otherppl Show wherever you listen. You can also subscribe on YouTube, and you can follow me on Bluesky and Instagram. If you are out there and you or someone you know would make a great character studies guest and would be willing to appear on this show anonymously by first name or by pseudonym, and would be willing to just talk with me openly about, your life, or if your friend or whoever, that would be great. You can email me. The address is letters@otherppl.com. One more time, it's letters@otherppl.com. So I have a weekly email newsletter. Don't forget to sign up for it over at bradlisti.substack.com. And if you love this show, if you listen regularly, if you get something from it, if you've been with me for a while and you want to show some support, you can do that over at patreon.com/otherpplpod. If you want to get an Otherppl t-shirt or a sweatshirt, or if you want to join the Otherppl book club, you can do all of the above at otherppl.com, the show's official website. And if you want to sign up for the waitlist for my new company, Deep Dive, and its debut audio course, How to Write a Novel, you can sign up for the waitlist over at www.deepdive.audio, and you can follow Deep Dive on Bluesky and Instagram. Deep Dive is going to be launching soon, within the next month or two. I will keep you posted here on the show, and it's going to be exciting when it happens. Finally, if you have 2 minutes and you want to do me a quick favor, I would deeply appreciate it if you would give this show a rating wherever you listen. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Tidal, whatever it is. Rate it, review it. It helps the show in the algorithm, and it helps it find new listeners. All right, so coming up on Tuesday, I will be in conversation with Lynn Steger-Strong. She is making her triumphant return to the Otherppl show, celebrating the publication of a new novel called The Float Test. It's available from Mariner Books, and it is Lynn's big Florida novel. She's from Florida. She's been wanting to write a novel set in Florida, and now she has done it, and we talk about it. It is always a pleasure having Lynn Steger-Strong on this show. That is coming up on Tuesday. Stay tuned.